Welcome back, everybody, to Real Time, and we have a fun-packed show for you here today. We are talking Speak No Evil 2024 movie review, Joker 2, and its critic reviews. Also, we're going to give you our trailer reactions to The Apprentice and Venom 3, the final trailer. And then lastly, we're going to talk about Spider-Man getting a new director, possibly, and some multiple heroes might be taking place within that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about our picks for Secret Wars and who we'd like to see. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to ReelTime RoundTable, where we give you the best holiday news here on YouTube. We got brand new mics. I just realized that, so I can't be too far away from my microphone. But I'm, of course, Josh Williams.
I'm Jordan Burke.
I'm Addie.
I'm Nolan.
So you see, we got these brand new nice Shure microphones. Big shout out to Josh for getting them for us. We've wanted these for quite a while, but we realized we got to get them pretty close, so we may have to figure out something else here in the future. But how's everybody's week been so far this past week?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
I think.
Good.
Okay.
Pretty good.
A little busy.
Mine was extremely busy, and I'm exhausted. But apparently, I gave some people some, try to go see a movie to review this, and a couple people didn't do it.
Look, man. Busy.
It was a busy weekend.
I've seen the trailer 100 times. I don't even need to see the movie.
I saw
You actually do. There's a lot more to it than you think. And,
really?
and so let's just get off to it right here. So over the weekend, Speak No Evil was just released for the 2024, and is a remake of the 2022 version, and it's from, I can't remember which country it's from, but this is a remake of it, starring James McAvoy, who's playing the antagonist, and so far on Rotten Tomatoes, it's sitting at 84% for critic ratings, and also 85% for the audience score. And then I will say, it didn't make that much. It only made $20 million on a $15 million budget, which is not that good. And that's a shame, because this movie is actually pretty good. I think I'm the only one that saw it at this table. That's okay. That's okay. We'll it's fine. We'll move forward past that. I'm not mad, guys. I'm just
disappointed.
Don't say that.
Just
Don't say
disappointed.
that. Oh, man.
Now go to your room. No, I'm just kidding. No, but actually, this movie was really good. James McAvoy. Someone needs to give him an Oscar nomination already, because he should have got one for Split, in my opinion. And this one, he is just as good. It's his subtleties in his because a lot of people know, like, there's a big difference between theater and movies. In movies, there's subtleties to your expressions and what you're trying to convey. He does that so well in this movie, and he put on quite a bit of muscle for this role. And he looks like beastly for this movie, and there's a reason for it. But the rest of the cast was terrific as well. It's just what stands out to me the most, like Mackenzie Davis. I knew her originally from it's a Netflix TV show. Blanking on it. Black Mirror. She was in an episode. She was in an episode of San Junipero. That's one of my favorites, and she's in that as well. She did terrific in this film. The movie, like I said, I haven't seen the original, and we're not gonna get into spoilers here. But I didn't get a chance to see the original. I was trying to, but I decided to just try. I had time to watch this or the original. I went for this. But you've seen the original.
Yeah.
So this one, it's more like English speaking, and apparently from the original, there's actually a dialect difference.
Yeah, so
for that
there's
one.
a Danish couple and then a Dutch couple.
Okay.
So you hear from the Danish couple, like, what they're saying, but the Dutch couple you don't hear. Like, I mean, they speak in their native language, but you do not hear, like, what they say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how was that one? Like, what did you think of it? Because I remember you said, what were you saying before we got on the show? Why you didn't want to see this one?
So I didn't want to see the one that just came out, because I'm afraid it's going to taint the way that I saw, like, the first one. Because I really like the original, and I feel like a lot of foreign films are better than the American adaptation.
Okay.
And there was only like a few years, there was only like a few years apart, like, from these. So I don't know. I think I was just afraid that it wasn't gonna, like, lead up to the expectation that I had. It was also, the other one's very subtle, and by the trailer of this new one, it does not look subtle at all.
It actually is more than you think. The trailer
Really?
makes it much more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of drags out a lot of what you see from the trailers. and it actually kind of builds and builds until you get to the ending where it does get really crazy.
Really?
Yeah, but it's a real slow build to that, and I think the pacing of it really works well for that too, because it starts off with like you're not sure about this couple, and then it kind of builds and builds, and like there's little instances when they have like lunch together, when they're doing this and that, and it just slowly their characters slowly change from what you first meet them to what it is at the end. The trailer makes it seem like it's just like crazy out of this world, like thriller, but it does build. It does have those moments. Don't get me wrong, it does, but it really only builds till the end. I liked it. It was a suspenseful build-up, which I liked the most too.
Okay.
So that if that helps alleviate any of your...
Yeah, so then maybe it's similar then.
Yeah, it must sounds pretty similar to it. But the biggest one for me, I mean, everyone did a great job, but God, James McAvoy. I mean, I just can't get over how good he was in this movie. It's probably one of my favorite performances of his in a very long time. I think since Split.
He does look similar to like that guy's character. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I just said dang. That's all.
So Nolan, you didn't get a chance to see it, but like from hearing what we've been talking about, like, and you see in the critic reviews, like, what is your take?
Oh yeah, people are loving it. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's something I would see eventually. It doesn't. It's just I'm not super urgent about it. Like I would.
Gotcha.
I would. I don't know if I would go to the theater and see it. Maybe I would, just because it would be the first thing I see that doesn't play the Speak No Evil trailer in a whole year. But
and that's what also worries me, because this movie, you guys seen some great movies that don't get hardly any attention at the box office, but end up being like Edge of Tomorrow is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Made nothing at the box office, but it's a fantastic movie. I'm not saying this movie is fantastic by any stretch of the imagination. It's really good. It does have some issues, but I can't really get into it without spoiling anything. I can talk about it with you guys afterwards if you want. But this movie deserves more than 20 million it got. I will say that. And to me, it's worth seeing the movie in the theaters because there's a lot more that plays along with the sound design of it too that works really well within a theater.
That's cool.
So that really helps. That to me is one of the good reasons why to see it in the theater personally.
Okay.
So for me, I'm probably still going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. Maybe an 8, depending upon how you feel as we go down the road. Solid movie. Good thriller. Kind of helps. To me, it helps get me in the mood for horror Halloween season. That's why I think it's a perfect time frame to put this in. Yeah. But I mean, Jordan, you didn't get a chance to see it. I know you wanted to see it.
I did.
What about this show so far? Like, what about this movie so far? Like, excites you to maybe go watch it?
I'm curious because we keep talking about how it's not making a whole lot right now. I wonder if, with the reaction I've heard from the one from 2022, it's not necessarily a positive reaction, but a lot of people have seen it, and a lot of people have just very interesting opinions about it, and kind of like what Addie was saying, that she didn't want to watch this one because she doesn't want to skew her vision of
the original.
I wonder if that's kind of why
that might
maybe it's not making a lot right now because people are hesitant to see it.
That's that could be the case. I hope that's not. I mean, that could be the case. I hope it's not, just because there's been plenty of movies in the past where it's a remake of an original, like The Ring, for example, is another one that is a perfect example that it's not the same as the original, but it's still, to me, just as good because it's made differently. And I will say I haven't seen the original of this one, but from what I've seen from like trailers and whatnot, it's kind of structured similarly, but this one they all kind of speak English, so there's different nuances to the conversations they have than what it is in the original, which is there's a huge language barrier between those two. So
it was kind of like what was the movie that we were talking about the other day?
Let the Right One In.
Yeah, when there's like Let Me In, which is the foreign one, and then right?
No, Let the Right One In.
Let the Right One In is the original,
and then Let Me In was the or maybe Swedish, something like that. But like the difference of I mean, I think the American adaptation is still good, but the foreign one is just really good. Like I don't know what they're doing over there, but it's awesome. I don't know.
All right. Well, what do you guys think about this, folks? See, if you have seen Speak No Evil, jump in comments below. Let us know your thoughts, give your positives and negatives, and your score out of 10. And I realized this was supposed to be your segment to take over.
That's okay.
But you want to go ahead and take over Joker?
I'll take over Joker.
Let's take over Joker. All right. Let's go to the next segment here, guys.
So the critic reviews for Joker came out recently. And they're not that great.
Really?
Not really.
A lot of people are saying it's kind of a waste. It's not a good storyline. I am hearing that Lady Gaga is very, very good in this, which makes me very happy. I think she's very underrated for her acting skills. But this is very sad, especially for Joaquin Phoenix. He's so good.
Yep.
And to hear that the first one did so good, and now this one is not doing good.
Like I have a couple here, like Allison Wilmore from The Vulture says Joker 2 is a waste of Lady Gaga's talent. Someone labeled it
harsh.
Yeah.
To say.
Someone said from the Times, they said the flick was messy, lifeless sequel.
Yeah.
And there's some people who actually did give it a positive review as well. There's some here who say most of them are praising Lady Gaga, and there's one person here that says, and I quote, Phoenix is a masterful, and he and Gaga make an awesome on-screen team. So it's kind of getting mixed reviews, but if you remember, the original Joker did too.
That is true.
Yeah, it did.
But I guess for me, it's still not going to sway me from going to see this. I'm still going to. But I mean, I don't know how you feel about it though. It's not going to sway me. I am still hesitant the fact that it's a musical, even though I feel like it's going to play on that's all in their heads.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I think that's such a cool storyline to follow. But now that I'm hearing reviews, I'm scared that the kind of only new aspect they brought in is a musical, and that's Lady Gaga. Does that kind of decline the ratings or the story a little bit?
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people with the first movie that came out though didn't like it almost because they thought it was like cheap or cheesy on like in certain areas, almost like how I took the first movie was everything that the Joker was like perceiving was just more of in his head than it actually was like in reality. Like he was almost kind of twisting what the truth was. And so I feel like that's probably what they will do with this one, but I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of people got that from the first movie. I don't know. That's just me.
No, I fully agree, because there was that whole plot point where it was the woman who lived like on his hall that he had that whole parasocial relationship, and at the end it was like, oh, but they've never actually spoken to each other. I like didn't realize that was supposed to be a twist, because I just kind of assumed that it was in his head the whole time.
Right.
And that's what I said whenever the first trailer of this movie came out. I was on ReelTime that week, and that's what I said, like, it's gonna be like La La Land, where it's like exaggerated, like it's clearly they're not really standing up and singing and dancing, and there's not like people doing all this choreography. Like it's just gonna definitely play into their delusion, and I still stand by, like, I'm excited to see how that gets pulled off.
Well, it's good to hear that you guys, like, it's not dissuading your excitement to see it at all. It's just very interesting how some people, like, they're saying it's not a worthy sequel, which is a very interesting take, because the first one, if you guys can agree, is definitely more of a character study than anything else, which this may go away from that. But what about you, Jordan? Like, what about these reviews and everything like that? What are you looking forward to now? What are you kind of hesitant about?
It's kind of making me want to watch it a little more.
Really?
Yeah. The
like,
fact
is
that
it that bad?
Yeah, I kind of want to. And then I love musicals, so I think the idea of putting in music with the Joker, who is kind of going insane a little bit, or a lot of it maybe, I really like that aspect. And the fact that it's kind of getting bad reviews, I really want to see for myself if it actually is that bad or if it's good.
I do want to pose a question to all of you. I know this is supposed to be your segment that you're taking charge of.
Stealing
but
my
I was just thinking about this. I was just thinking about this question for everybody, because I'm wondering, when you're going to see this movie, and I'm wondering if I'm going to do this myself, are you going to be when you see Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn, are you going to be comparing her to Margot Robbie?
Not to Margot Robbie, but I'd say just the character as a whole. Like, kind of every interpretation.
Of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, because that's actually something I was going to bring up, is I think it's weird and sort of unfaithful, but it also kind of fits in, I think, this world of Joker.
Right.
Harley Quinn is usually like a therapist that works with the Joker, and then eventually he's so crazy that he kind of like corrupts her. And that seems pretty clearly that that's not what's happening in this. And I think that that's a really, really big thing to change. I think it's really important that they have that relationship. And so I'm kind of questioning if this was almost an entirely different character, and then they just slapped the name Harley Quinn on it, because it feels more like the character Punchline, which they introduced in a Batman line 3 or 4 years ago. It's more akin to her. This does not matter. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, continue.
So I think that it could be. I still think that I'm gonna judge it based on her performance, Lady Gaga's performance, just kind of without context, because if I did compare it to other things, then it would be like, well, this isn't even her. So like you kind of have to have that idea of like, well, this is what Harley Quinn is supposed to be, and this is what is happening, but then you kind of just have to kind of divorce those two ideas, because there's not really a whole lot that goes between them.
That's fair. What you got?
Yeah, I feel like it's, like in the Spider-Verse, how there's just like different versions of Spider-Man. I feel like that's kind of how it is, kind of like what you were saying as well, is like this universe of like Batman and the Joker is so different from like every other movie, so it's just like it's kind of different. This one, it's kind of different in that one. It's like different dimensions in a way. So like I don't know. I'm just excited to see this. I also just really like Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix, so to see this, I'm like,
fair. What about you? Are you gonna compare them at all?
I don't. Kind of like what Nolan said. I don't think I'm gonna compare Lady Gaga to Margot Robbie, but they do kind of just feel like completely different Harley Quinns almost.
True.
So I think comparing the two characters might be interesting.
Yeah.
I also think it might just be a cool aspect to Harley Quinn.
Yeah. It could be, could be a completely different version of Harley Quinn that we've seen before, which is kind of excitement to me. I don't know if I will, but when you start thinking about like who's played Harley Quinn before, especially in live action, she's really the only one, Margot Robbie and Lady Gaga. So I don't think I will, but I'm just afraid at some point I will, just to see, because there are certain aspects to me of Harley Quinn that need to stay within the confines of the character. And like how crazy she can be, certain things that she would do out of a whim, things like that is what I'm looking for. Hopefully they still do, which could also be the case, because I remember, if you guys watch the trailer, there's a spot where like she's just watching Joker and all of a sudden she just breaks the window and takes the TV. Like that's something Harley Quinn would do. Yeah, you know what I mean. So we'll see. It doesn't sway me at all, but I am concerned that before, the reviews were more about they didn't like the avenues that the original Joker was taking as far as exploring mental health. Whereas this one, it's more within the confines of the filmmaking itself, which does worry me a little bit, but I'm still going to go see it regardless.
For sure. So let us know your thoughts about the new Joker movie. Are you nervous about the music aspect? Are you nervous about the character development? Let us know what you think.
All right, let's talk some trailers. First, we're going to start off with Venom 3. The final trailer just released over here the past week. This is going to be the last go-around, supposedly, of Tom Hardy's Venom. And then I think they're just continuing after that. Jordan, we're going to start with you. You saw this trailer, and you've seen the first two.
A little bit. Parts of them.
But how did this trailer... did this trailer do it for you? Did it not? And are you excited to even watch this final go-around for Tom Hardy? You think this will be, or... do you think he'll pop up somewhere else?
I think he's going to pop up somewhere else. With how we're doing superheroes right now, I don't think he's even close to done. But one thing about Venom that I really like that they're showing is they kind of have a good mix between action and comedy. And it's not over the top. I don't think the action's over the top, and I don't think the comedy's over the top. It's like that perfect sweet spot right in the middle. And I think this trailer did a really good job of showing that. So I'm very excited to see that part.
Yeah, and... the first one I think did a great job at mixing the action and comedy, whereas the second one didn't feel like it did as well. I think they did too much comedy. To me, and this could be subjective, but to me there's a blend that needs to be a perfect blend of comedy and action where you don't lose any horror aspects or action aspects to the comedy. So, but what about you guys? You saw the trailers. Nolan, what'd you think?
I'm really excited because it looks like it features Null, who I think is a really cool villain. He was introduced for the first time, and I just looked it up again, 2018, and so he's super recent, which I think it's cool that he's. I think it's cool that he's showing up in a movie this fast, and I'm excited to see what they do with that character, because that dude is a beast. Without going into too much.
Yeah. I did some research on him too.
I think it's going to be kind of crazy to see him just in this movie. It's interesting to me that we had a whole first trailer that didn't show anything about him. So I'm wondering how much he's actually going to be in the movie. I'm hoping it's a lot, because I think that he's really awesome.
Yeah. Addie, did you watch the Venom 1 and 2 when they first?
I saw the first Venom.
Okay.
I didn't see, or maybe I think I saw some of the second. I was like, okay. I don't know. I did like the first one though.
Okay.
I did enjoy that.
What do you think of this trailer so far? Does it entice you to probably go see it more? Or
Yeah,
do anything for
actually,
you?
the CGI actually looks a lot better than I think both of them combined. But then maybe that's just
That's true.
maybe
No,
that's just. But I think
can
it
agree with
looks it looks cool. Doesn't look like a Snapchat filter.
Is that what the original was?
It was okay. It was either the first or the second one. There was one where he was like trying to like hold back like Venom, you know. And I don't know what it was, but I was like, dude, that did not look good. I don't know what it was.
I think that was the second one.
I think it was the second.
Yeah,
and people were like, what is happening? I was like, oh god, never mind.
Where it's like a quarter of his face is
yes.
Yeah, that was in the trailer.
I was like,
yeah,
I think I saw that on Snapchat. I'm pretty sure they just use Snapchat for that one. But no, I think this one looks really, really cool. A lot of action.
I mean, I hope so. It's got a $110 million budget, and it actually has a plus next to it, so it's probably more. So, I mean, if the CGI is not up to par, then I don't know where the heck the money's going.
Dang.
But, I mean, I will say I wasn't as happy with the second one, which makes me wonder why Venom 3 is going to be the last one. You know what I mean? Because we'll get to it here in a little bit, but, you know, Spider-Man is getting more than just 3 movies. So, and I thought Tom Hardy's done a great job with this character. I mean,
like
he's really been committed to this. Would it have been the kind of Eddie Brock I would have went for? Maybe not, but it was a different version that I was okay with, kind of thing. It could be good. It could be bad. Again, we see trailers, and we're thinking, oh, this looks like the best thing ever. That's how I thought when I saw the second one for Venom 2 for Carnage. I was like, this looks incredible because Carnage is one of my favorite all-time villains. Wasn't the case. I was extremely disappointed in 2. So this one, yes, I know more about Null, but he's not like to me. Null maybe would have been a perfect Venom 2 villain. Where you build up to Carnage, because Carnage to me is like he is more known and more synonymous to everybody than Null, and to me you should have swapped them out to build up to Carnage instead of just thrusting yourself into him for the second one. I don't know. What, you disagree? You have that look on your face.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like power wise, Null is way above. And so I feel like it makes a lot more sense to have him in the last movie. I think Carnage is like a more well fleshed out, recognizable character. But for this to be the last dance, right? Is the subtitle for it to be the last dance? I feel like having like Venom's creator being who he fights is just thematically makes more sense.
I guess that's true. I guess I don't know. All right. Well, I mean, do you have any other thoughts on Venom besides that for you?
This might be a completely irrelevant and dumb question, but is it very common for actors to sign a 3-movie contract?
Yes.
Which is potentially why it could be just his last film as they ran out of their contract. If they continue on, then he can sign another one.
That's true. Yeah. No, most time for franchises like this, they do sign 3-movie contracts. Like I know Tom Holland did for 3 Spider-Mans plus others to be involved in other Marvel Studios franchises. For movies, but yes, that is true. Most of the time, sometimes they'll just do a 1 movie and that's it, and then they leave it open to a sequel so they can try and get more money out of it.
Right.
It just depends. But I think from what I read, Tom Hardy did sign on to do 3.
To do 3 of them.
So maybe that is true. Maybe they call it the Last Dance, but may not be actually the Last Dance. But we'll get into it later. I think he's going to show up in Secret Wars. Personally,
he's going to.
But we'll get to that.
Spoiler.
Right.
Gosh.
But Jordan, what's the next trailer we're talking about?
The next trailer we're talking about is The Apprentice, which, by the way, I've been butchering that word all day.
What have you been saying?
Apprentice.
Apprentice.
I cannot say apprentice. Anyway, if you don't know, The Apprentice is the story of Donald Trump, and we want to kind of focus on the cinematography aspect of it, and then how Sebastian Stan's portrayal of Donald Trump is being seen. I personally was very skeptical of Sebastian Stan. I didn't think necessarily maybe he would do a good job, but after watching the trailer, I think he's doing pretty decent so far. Nolan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I remember whenever I first heard news about this, people were saying like, oh, but he's not doing the voice. Like, he has such an iconic voice and he's not doing it. And I think, unfortunately, and this is, again, divorced from all ideas of politics and anything serious, just specifically the entertainment value of this movie, I think it would be a little bit harder to take seriously if he was doing a Trump impression.
Yeah.
Because that idea has been so conjoined with a joke, specifically over, the past couple of years. Like, the Trump voice is, like, just kind of inherently humorous at this point.
That's fair.
And so to have a whole movie where he's doing it, I feel like it just, you couldn't really get super into it. But yeah, I think aesthetically it actually looks so cool. Like them shooting on cameras that would have been used at the time. I think it looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of like that aesthetic too. Like if you're doing something that's made back, like I think mid '90s did something similar.
Yeah.
And they also did the 4:3 aspect ratio. I think is what they're doing for this one too. I mean, yeah, devoid of everything else, I was a little curious about Sebastian Stan because I thought it was a very interesting person to choose.
Yeah.
But with all the prosthetics you can see on his face and like the hair coif, that's also kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
I will say I do agree about not doing the affliction too much, but to me, if you're trying to transform yourself, like take he played Winston Churchill in a World War II movie.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman. He thrusted himself into that character role. He changed his voice. He did everything. Put prosthetics on. He looked like Winston Churchill. To me, if you're going for something that's like that, to me, you have to fully enthrust yourself with the affliction, everything. And I feel like if you're good at it, it won't be funny because you're right. It has become a joke. It has become a joke, and people making the voice and everything like that. But if you're going for like a serious movie like this looks like it's gonna be, it sounds okay. I will say the words he uses, like if you listen to what Sebastian Stan is saying as far as the lines for playing Donald Trump are very similar. Yeah. Like he'll in the scene he rings the doorbell. Hey, can I see a cone? Thank you very much. And it's like, oh, that sounds just like something he would say. You know what I'm saying? So that to me is what I'm looking forward to seeing, is if maybe mannerisms and certain things like that he does right, because he looks pretty close to what he was Donald Trump as a young guy. So that's at least my thoughts on it so far.
I think the characteristics of like trying to embody kind of the personality of Donald Trump and show that through his acting is important. I personally I don't really care about the voice just because I know it's Sebastian Stan. So if I know Sebastian Stan doesn't talk like Donald Trump, I know he doesn't sound like him. So for me, it's not a big deal. But I think if he doesn't just kind of get the characteristics that we have seen from Donald Trump for so many years, it won't be as good to watch.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Addie?
Yeah, I still going off, I guess, like on the voice whenever you guys are talking about. But I've seen like some videos of Donald Trump when he was younger, and he still has the same like voice that the like you said, the iconic voice, but not as much as he does now.
Interesting.
Like it's way more like obvious now, and like him younger, it's kind of pulled back a little bit, like not too much, but I don't know. I feel like maybe that's kind of what they were just trying to go for, is like not make it too obvious, kind of thing. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I remember listening to some interviews of him back in the day, and you're right. It's much different than what you're hearing these days.
Right. Exactly.
No.
Yeah. So I got a message from Icarus, who I think is our director today.
No, Icarus is on audio.
Okay. So Icarus just texted me, and I was gonna say this. The weirdest part about this movie is the schedule, the releasing time, the fact that it's coming out right now.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
Yeah,
with everything going on, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it feels weird because there was a biopic about Ronald Reagan that came out like 2 weeks ago, and because Reagan was like the 80s, right?
Yeah.
So it just feels weird to have a biopic come out about someone who's like still alive and still
still going
very
on.
important.
Yeah. That's true.
And that's not to say it can't be done, because like Rocket Man, Elton John's still kicking.
And I, Tanya, same thing.
Yeah.
She's still around.
But everything that it focused on was so like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a little weird for it to be like
That's
there's
fair.
a movie about a guy who is currently running for public office.
I was about to
true.
say, almost everybody knows him. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he's still
Yeah,
very
it's,
well known.
It'd be a little funny. You had a little Joe Biden, cameo in this movie.
I was about to say.
Yeah, he's just like
That's
just some
really
random
nice.
senator.
Some random senator shows up.
Exactly. No.
But I mean, you have any last minute thoughts before we move on, guys? I think we covered. I mean, I'm still gonna go see it, even though it's about Donald Trump. No matter what you feel about him politically, it still looks like a movie that could be. From what I'm hearing, this could be potentially giving Sebastian Stan an Oscar nomination.
Really?
So people are saying his performance is that good. So that's one of the reasons I'm definitely gonna be checking it out.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So. All right, guys, what did you think of the trailers that we gave you here tonight? Did you like Venom 3? Did you like The Apprentice? Leave your comments in that section below and let us know your thoughts.
It's called The Apprentice.
The Apprentice.
Yeah.
Apprentice.
There you go. Good job.
Jordan took a few hours trying to figure that one out.
Whatever. All right, guys, let's move on here to Spider-Man 4. Now, according to, comicbookmovie.com, rumor is that the director of Shang-Chi, I'm always bad at his name, Destin Daniel Cretton, I think that's how you pronounce it, is rumored to direct Spider-Man 4 and is now officially happening. That was one of the other big news segments that came out of that, but also came out around this time is whereas the Tom Holland wanted to more focus. This is all rumor now. This is all conjecture rumor. There's none of this has been confirmed, but according to also comicbookmovie.com, is that Tom Holland wanted to return to have it be more street level, and have it be and focus more on like doing things that are more within the confines of New York, not like what he's been doing. And they are going to do that, but the studio is pushing to have a lot more heroes involved with it, aka like Daredevil and other street level heroes like that. So with that being said, I'm not sure if that's what Tom Holland was wanting, but that's the rumor, is that they're going to be bringing in a lot more heroes into this one instead of just focusing on him dealing with what happened after the third one. So Addie, you hear this news, Destin Daniel Cretton is coming back in Shang-Chi. Like, how do you feel at least about that to start off as far as him directing this film?
I think it's really cool, but I don't know if you want me to... I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, to be honest. I know.
Josh is dead.
I know. I'm sorry.
I just killed Josh.
I like Spider-Man, but I don't know. 4 movies that's a lot.
It's a little much for you.
That's a lot of movies. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess we can get to spoilers and then we'll go to Nolan, who actually, enjoys Spider-Man a little bit.
I was about to say, as someone who actually likes this.
No, but it's very interesting because I don't know if this would have been the right movie to bring in more heroes, because given the facts of Spider-Man 3, spoiler alert, by the way, everyone's minds have been wiped. No one really knows he exists anymore. At least Peter Parker.
Yeah, they still know Spider-Man.
They still know Spider-Man, but they don't know Peter Parker, which is a very interesting thing to have to deal with. So if it's true, like, of course, what do you think about the director rumor? But also now, like, bring in heroes when you're supposed. I think you should be focusing more on the character of Peter Parker living in this world now where no one knows he exists. Nolan.
Well, I mean, I think that having other heroes is a interesting way to go about Peter's character arc, because if you bring in Daredevil, and please,
yes,
God,
I will say you can bring in a
Daredevil.
hero. Bring in Daredevil. Bring in one. Just one.
I love Daredevil so much. There's a Daredevil sticker on my computer right here. I love him, but I mean, because Matt Murdock knew Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and so I think it could be interesting to have him interact with someone who knew both and who he knows both of. And I just think that it could create an interesting dynamic on the topic of identity, which is going to be very important in this movie.
Well, no, if you remember, though, not even Doctor Strange knows who.
Yeah.
They all know Spider-Man, but they don't know he's Peter Parker.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is that, like, Peter Parker knows that Matt Murdock, and he knows Matt Murdock, and he probably knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And Matt knows Spider-Man and not Peter Parker. Right. So I think that the dynamic of them having different levels of knowledge about each other's identity is an interesting way to go about the topic of identity as a whole. I'm hoping I said that right.
Yeah, but, that makes more sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want it to feel like a big ensemble, just because it's kind of not the way to go around a character story. Like you were saying, like, there can be big character moments, like in Infinity War, how there was the whole section with Thor and the Guardians, but even then it just felt a little shallow and a little like it missed a few things.
Right.
And so I hope that if there are other heroes, it'll be like Daredevil and then like maybe 2 other people. There's quite a few New York-based superheroes that I think could work, but hopefully they don't just pick and choose all of them.
Yeah, that's fair. What about you? Because you've seen Shang-Chi, you've seen all those, right?
Yep.
How do you feel about, Destin Daniel Cretton coming on to possibly direct this one?
I'm very excited for that. I think, using a new director is a very interesting decision to make, but I think it could be good. I don't think he has any bad ideas, really.
No, because I think he did pretty well with Shang-Chi as far as developing the character and exploring things of that nature. And plus, I think the action was great as well.
Yeah, it was really
good.
So,
I mean, he has nothing to make me, like, worried by any stretch of the imagination. But, I mean, as far as bringing in multiple heroes into this, do you think that's something they should explore or not?
I think a lot like what Nolan said, where we're at with Peter Parker right now, that nobody knows he's Spider-Man, bringing in a ton of heroes has potential to be very overshadowing to him.
Sure.
And I feel like where they're at with this story of he's just kind of, I mean, he knows he could be Spider-Man. He knows he knows what he's capable of, but nobody else does, is such an interesting idea and an interesting concept for a character development. And if they bring in all of these big heroes, we don't get to see that unravel.
Yep. Kind of like how they did with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, where he lives out in the city. No one knows he's Spider-Man, so he has to worry about showing his power and all this stuff and everything like that. I think that, to me, is a great point. Is I hope if they do bring in one, just bring in one. I'm okay with just him and Daredevil.
Yeah.
Maybe Daredevil mentoring him a little bit on how to, handle things within the city. All that, like, there's been plenty of comic book runs where those two are in it together and they're amazing. I feel like if you stick to that and you can still have him explore what it's like to be Peter Parker, where no one knows who he is, but have to hide his identity more to protect people. And then also, there's the next question I want to bring up is, so MJ and his friend Ned, they went now, they're out MIT. That's a completely different state. Are they going to show up in this one, or are they written out now? Like, I don't think you can have a movie without Zendaya and MJ in it. So how's that going to play if you guys can think of a theory?
I think they'll show up at some point. I think, like you said, you can't have Spider-Man without MJ. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think at some point they will show up to some degree.
What about you, Nolan?
I think it's Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy time.
Really?
I think I would prefer that, actually. I think both of those characters are a little more interesting.
Oof. Ooh, that's a hot take right there.
So,
oh man.
That's not even true. Okay. I think that the most interesting Spider-Man love interest is Felicia Hardy, who's Black Cat. Okay. But they're not going to do that. So I think that, unless they do, no. I think that it's possible to have Peter be like, oh man, I miss Ned and MJ, and then he'll see him and all that. I also think that Zendaya is maybe too big of an actress to not have in the movie. However, she may be too big of an actress to have in the movie. Because how much would they have to pay her for just like one or two scenes where Peter's missing her and whatever?
That's true.
So she's either going to be a very big part or no part at all. And with the way that the last movie kind of ended, I don't really think that it would make a whole lot of sense for her to be a big part.
Same.
So I'd rather have them just move on to, instead of Ned and MJ, do Harry and Gwen.
Maybe like he meets Harry in college or something, like they weren't like lifetime friends, but he met her like in college or something like that. Yeah. That could be interesting. Yeah, I agree. I feel like if you're gonna bring them back, maybe in the second one, like a fifth one, if they do a fifth one. Yeah. I have a feeling they're gonna do a new trilogy personally. Yeah. But maybe the fifth one, have them come back after they're done with college or something. I don't know. But that could be very interesting, bringing in Harry and Gwen. Sorry, yeah, that could be very interesting.
That'd actually be really cool.
Yeah,
I never thought of that, and then you said that, and I was like, my mind's a little blown. Because I mean, like, we know Zendaya and Tom Holland we've seen them together so much right now.
They're still a couple, aren't they?
I think they're married.
No, they're not.
Huh?
Okay,
I'm pretty
I
sure.
think
Let me
be
look
like
it up.
they're probably secretly engaged.
Zendaya and Tom Holland?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're married, and it's like
I'm
out
looking.
there. Anyway,
I'm looking.
I think we've seen those, especially those two characters. We've seen them together for 3 movies now. It might be a cool change to have let's just bring in 2 completely new people, especially knowing what we know about Peter Parker, we know about Tom Holland's character. Let's just see him interact with 2 completely different friends.
They bring on a Gwen Stacy, make sure she's at least maybe his height a little bit, because Zendaya is so much more taller.
Yeah, that's true. They make it easier on the
make
cinematographer.
It easier, yep. Exactly.
So we just looked it up. Yeah,
they're not engaged.
They're
not married.
It's just
For
rumors.
real?
It's just rumors, I guess.
No, it's not. I think you're gaslighting me.
Look.
Right
there.
Look.
No. It says it.
I think you're gaslighting me.
Oh, okay. So she like posted on Instagram like featuring a ring, but I don't know why she was playing with people's emotions there. That was kind of that's kind of sick.
She played with my emotions.
That's kind of twisted.
I am
Jordan
crushed.
is devastated.
I think I need to go home.
Jordan
I'll see you guys later.
Well, before we get to that, you go home and have a good cry and in the corner while you rock yourself.
Yeah, I am.
Let's get to our discussion of the week, which does play into Spider-Man here with multiple heroes. We're going to talk Secret Wars is coming up right around the corner. It's not too far away. We're building up to it now. If you've been paying attention to I like to call it now the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, the MCM is what I call it, there's been multiple different characters that have shown up in multiple different movies for different universes. As far as going into Secret Wars, now that we know that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to play Doom, and they are seemingly going away from Kang, which I don't agree with. That's neither here nor there. Who would you guys like to see, or who do you think would see? We'll kind of go with Jordan first. Come in to, because we've seen all these other, like, because in Deadpool and Wolverine, spoiler, Elektra shows up, Blade shows up.
What? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no.
Did you really not know that? Well, now Addie's heartbroken.
Go rate.
I know, right?
So ReelTime RoundTable just became therapy.
That's right.
I was about to say.
We're all
But no, like,
traumatized.
so who do you think could show up or play a big key role for Secret Wars?
I feel like this is a little bit of a hot take, but I would really like to see Kate Bishop and Yelena show up. I think Yelena. Yelena. Thank you. I feel like they, especially now that we were talking about Tom Holland and kind of the new generation of Avengers, I feel like with Hawkeye they really tried to push it and then they kind of just dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to see, like, I love Chris Evans, I love Chris Hemsworth and Tony Stark and all that, but I want to see a new generation of them. So I'm really hoping they kind of bring in some of those younger characters.
Or at least give them more, because I feel like they're gonna be in it,
Yeah.
but you didn't give them a more prominent.
Yeah, I want to
role.
see more of a, just even more of a push.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. How about you, Nolan?
I feel like every time something like superhero related gets brought up, I'd like nerd out on a way elevated level.
That's okay.
Okay, good, because I'm
That's
still
fine.
going
That's
to.
okay.
Nerd.
Well, so Secret Wars is essentially just a. To oversimplify it, Secret Wars, the first comic line, is a really petty argument between the egos of Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom.
Yep.
And so we're definitely going to have Doom, and I'm sure at this point we're also going to have Reed Richards. I hope he plays a very big role in it.
Pedro Pascal's probably, yep.
But also in the original comic run, the heroes are so screwed that they need to go and get help from a character named the Beyonder, who can just do whatever. That's his whole thing. He can literally do anything. I think it kind of breaks a lot of continuity and a lot of rules to have a character that powerful, which is why he was written out of the comic continuity and became a race of beings called the Beyonders, which they don't play a part. Let me run it in.
Reel it in here, but no, you're fine. You're good, man. You're good.
So
Nerd away.
I think that the Beyonder showing up would be really cool.
Okay.
Just because he played such a big part. But then again, it's like the comics had to go back and say, like, we can't have someone that powerful.
Yep.
So then the movies would have to probably also do the same thing, and so it'd be kind of a mess. That being said, I just want Daredevil
to be there.
Yeah. I don't know what he'd be able to do,
Right.
but I just hope he's there for the vibe.
I will say I would love to still see, even though it looked like he got killed off possibly in the Void, I'd still love to see Wesley Snipes come back as Blade. I think that'd be really cool. And I don't know what anybody else thinks about it, but I thought names are today are really blanking. Guy who played Gambit, Channing Tatum did a good job as Gambit.
I would say so.
And so I'd be cool to see him come back. And I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't think he did a great job, but I would love to see both Daredevils on there, including Ben Affleck. I know, right? Yeah, I know. But more so than that, I think what could be really good is to bring back some of the OG X-Men besides Hugh Jackman. I'm thinking Halle Berry coming back as a significant role as Storm.
That'd be cool.
Maybe even Jean Grey, the girl who played Jean Grey, stuff like that. And of course, Charles Xavier coming back.
Yeah. I love any amount of X-Men. I love the X-Men.
Those are the ones that really came to mind to me. But as far as like more prominent roles, like you said, I think Pedro Pascal is gonna have a very prominent role. I would love to still see. It's even though nobody wants to see it happen, I do feel like they're gonna bring Chris Evans back as a version of Captain America.
Probably.
I think they already brought him back. Spoiler alert again. It's all over social media anyway. He came back as Johnny Storm in The Void. But I think
I'm really glad they brought that up, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they acknowledged it.
Yep.
That's all.
That was fantastic. But I will say I think who was going to have the most prominent role is going to be Deadpool. I mean, I don't think we realize that. I think he's going to have a very big key role with this, as far as like RDJ. Of course, he's going to be the antagonist as Doctor Doom. But I think what he and America Chavez can do as far as going to multiverse, they're going to play a big key role of rounding people up, I think.
Yeah.
At least that's my take on it. But Addie, did you have any before we head off here?
Yeah, just the X-Men. I was just thinking about that, and I haven't seen Wolverine and Deadpool yet, but I've been meaning to. But yeah, that would be really cool to see him. Or Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, let's
That
have
would be kinda
Shadow
cool
to show
too.
up.
That would be kind of cool.
I
That'd be
did
kinda
promise
cool.
I did promise Addie at some point we will bring up like the next time a trailer drops for Sonic. We'll cover it for you,
Please.
okay? And I'll have you on.
Please.
We'll have you on again.
Oh man.
But all right, folks, that is for today. Thank you so much for watching. Who would you like to see in Avengers: Secret Wars? Leave your comments section below. Who do you think will be a key role, and who would you like to see just in his appearance? Leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. Also, if you like what we provide here, hit the like button, punch the subscribe button so you receive all of our great content we have for you here on Real Time and on Red Digital. Sadly, we have a few shows that have left us, but we still have D&D, Nolan's show, that's going to be appearing on Red Digital. And we have a new segment, Icarus, has started, and Jordan, called Pester the Professor. It's a very interesting concept.
It's a great time.
Yeah. So
great time. Our first episode has Dr. Joe Moore. Check in.
There you go.
It's awesome.
And so check those out here on Red Digital as well. I'm sure this will be a great show produced by two great producers. But that's all
and
we have
Addie.
for today.
And Leilani.
It's
Oh,
okay.
and
It's the
Leilani.
four of us, yeah.
But that is for today. I'm Josh Williams.
I'm Jordan Burke.
I'm Addie.
And I'm Nolan.
And thank you for keeping it real.
With Real Time.